This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and during my hiatus from lockpicking, I received a package from Richard in the UK with the 3 locks that you see in front of you. Each one of these is a gem, so let me take you through each of them before we get to any picking. The first is this Ingersoll lock, and in it, it has the 10 lever Ingersoll core. Now, if you're not familiar with this core, I actually brought out, I have an Ingersoll rim cylinder here that I've taken mostly apart so you can see this design. It's a really, I think, ingenious, compact design where they fit 10 levers into this tiny little cylinder. We have a fence in the side that acts as a sidebar and keeps the core from turning. And when the key is completely inserted, all of the gates line up, the fence is able to drop down, and the core can turn. It's honestly one of my favorite core designs, and it is a very, very difficult one to pick. So I'm looking forward to trying this Ingersoll out. I'm not expecting a lot of good results early on, at least. The next, we have a Draper Expert. It's their 61mm model 8311. A really nice, solid hardened steel lock with a molybdenum alloy shackle. And actually, Richard had accidentally assembled this one incorrectly before he sent it to me with all of the key pins backwards. So I just picked this open and replaced the key pins, so this works well now. And the final lock we have here is a Bantam lock, and it is a 12-pin dimple lock. It looks like 2 rows of 6 pins that are directly opposing each other. And one interesting thing about this is that the dimples are drilled far enough that it actually creates holes in the key. And I've actually never seen this. Usually most lock manufacturers have maximum opposing depth specifications, so you can't put holes in keys. It looks like they did that on purpose with this lock. In any case, whenever you have opposing pins, it's always particularly difficult to pick. And this one feels like it has very nice tolerances, so I am expecting it to be a challenge. But for now, we are going to pick this Draper open, and then I'll take it apart and show you what's inside. Now, I usually like using my bent tension wrench on locks like this. However, the retainer plate on this is particularly thick, a lot thicker than what you would find on, say, an American 700. So this actually doesn't really reach the core very well. So I'm going to have to use a different tension tool. And that's going to be this Peterson pry bar in 50 thousandths. Okay, and we'll use a standard hook in 18 thousandths. 1 is loose. Click out of 2, a bit of a false set there. A little bit of counter rotation, click out of 3. Couple clicks out of 4. 5 is binding. Got a click there, a little movement on the core. Click out of 6. Back to the beginning. Click out of 1. And we just opened it up. Okay, let's take this guy apart and see what's inside. Like many padlocks along these lines, we have a screw down the shackle hole for taking this apart. Okay. Now to get this core apart, it looks like we will need a clip remover. Okay, now let's just get the key and a follower, and we should be able to take this apart. Okay, let's start by dumping the key pins out. One is a serrated steel pin for drill resistance. 2 is standard, 3 is standard, 4 is serrated brass, 5 is serrated brass, and 6 is standard. I'm assuming on these standard ones in slots 2, 3, and 6, the only reason there are no serrations in them is because they are too short, and there would really be no opportunity for a serration to come into play. Okay, let's take a look at the driver pins. We have a standard steel anti-drill pin in slot 1. We have a barrel pin, I guess an anti-bump pin in slot 2. A spool in slot 3. A spool in 4. Spool in 5. And a spool in 6. Okay, let me give you a close-up of all of this. Okay, as you can see on our key pins, number 1 is a serrated steel pin, 2, 3, and 6 are standard, and then 4 and 5 are serrated brass. Then on our driver pins, we have a standard steel pin for drill resistance in slot 1, a barrel anti-bump pin in slot 2, and then spools in slots 3 through 6. Moving over to the core, you can see that it appears that we have countermilling in all 6 of the chambers, which is always a nice anti-pick feature. We have an actuator on the back that is not bypassable. And other than that, a pretty standard looking core. Certainly a very competent lock, and one that should give most people at least a fair amount of difficulty as far as pick resistance goes. That's all I have for you on this Draper 61mm. Richard, thank you very much for all the locks that you sent my way. Hopefully I'll have some luck with the other 2. To everyone else, if you do have any questions or comments, please put them below. If you liked this video and would like to see more like them, please subscribe. And as always, have a nice day. Thank you.